So now for our spotlight speaker, Monica has been a friend of mine for quite a while, and has a passion for helping people, not just with their inside health and nutrition, but also for what is in our environment and what we put into our bodies as well. So I'm not going to share too much more, but I do need to, I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to make it to where you can share your screen, Monica. So hang on one sec. I meant to do this earlier, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you a co-host. Yes. Okay. So I will turn it over to Monica, and you have like 15 minutes, and if you want to open up for Q&A at the end, just let us know. Oh, you know what? I didn't give you your 30 seconds or your 60 seconds.
That's fine. I'll just do it here.
For some reason, I didn't see you when I was going down the screen. Might have needed to scan across.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. I really enjoyed this. But my name is Monica, and I am certified in indoor environmental health and nutrition. And basically, I cover anything health. I tell people one of the things that God gave us when He created the earth was He gave us air, water, and nutrition. And those are the basics of life, because if anybody messes it there, you can do everything else and it's not going to help, because we have to eat first before we do anything else. But the way I got into this was, actually sometimes, you have to get sick to really get into it. I've always been in health. My family, we have a lot of naturopathic doctors. And so I grew up actually knowing it and living it, until I moved to Georgia, and I started having allergies. I didn't even know what allergies were. And I was looking for a natural way to heal my body. And everything the doctors were telling me, I love doctors because I know they do great work. But, sometimes they just want to give you the easy way to take a pill. And that did not work for me. And my body literally doesn't take medication well. And the other thing was, when I looked at the side effects for the medication that was not going to heal me, it was actually worse than what I was experiencing. And so I went on a search to look for something that would heal me. And I came across somebody who told me, "Oh, have you ever thought about your indoor environment?" Because I realized actually that when I came home from work is when I started feeling bad. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, I was always nauseated. When I woke up, got up in the morning, I had head fog. I didn't get enough sleep. I was coughing and sneezing and all of that. And then I was actually diagnosed with allergic asthma. And so when I started looking at things, the person that I talked to said, why don't you get your home tested? And when I got it tested, sure enough, I could not smell mold in the home, but it was actually inside the walls, and that's what was making me sick. And then on top of that, when I removed the carpets, the people that were there before me, they actually had pets, and all the pet dander and everything that I shed was actually underneath the carpet. And so that was coming up, and that's what I was breathing. And so when I found this company, I just felt a call of God, because, the more I looked into it, the more I found out that over 1 million people actually suffer with asthma and allergies. And, they're told there's no cure. And they're actually the most misdiagnosed in the medical industry. They're the most over-medicated, and also allergy and asthmas are the most misunderstood, because they can be caused by so many things. Not one person is like the other person. And so as I dug into it, obviously I went into indoor health, and found out that the things that have been put out by EPA says that our homes actually have 10 pounds of toxic waste, or just from building materials. and those things are actually emitted in the air, um, as we breathe, because that's where we live. 90% of our time we live indoors. Whether you are in the home, whether in your office, whether in your school, or you're in the store, we are always surrounded by all these things. And the biggest thing is actually mold, because once it gets into your body, it's very, very difficult to get it out, and a lot of people actually get sick from it. And so, my whole thing is about healing the whole body, because one thing is not going to do it. And so, that's why I got it to actually certified in nutrition as well, so that when your body is healing and you're eating well, and you're drinking the best water, that at least your body has a fighting chance. And so I do air, water. Um, we have all different kinds of technologies that actually take the toxins out of the home, so that when you're there, the air you're breathing, the water you're drinking, obviously with nutrition, sometimes if you're not able to get, organic food, you can actually wash the toxins off with the kind of water that we use. We call it living water. It's actually a living water technology that makes hydrogen water. And so, 90% of the time, we're actually indoors, and 6 out of 10 people in a home are actually diagnosed with any kind of breathing problems. And they have found that 54% of women who work in the home actually get cancer just from the chemicals in the home. And so that's why I do this. I like to, because we think of all the different things. We think about the food we eat or things, but we never really think about the air that we breathe. And you can only live 3 minutes without air. And so it actually is actually more important than the water and the food, because we can live with those for a longer time. Um, so as you can see in this, can you see my graph? Okay. So you can see
Yes,
from
I
here,
can see.
like our homes are actually more toxic than outside, because everything is actually enclosed in. And we can open windows, but if, the whatever is outside is also going to come in the home. And so it's like a double whammy when we are trying to freshen the home. And then when you think about the things that we bring in the home as well, leave alone the 10 pounds of toxic waste that are in the home, we bring all different types of chemicals, our cleaning materials. And I'm so glad that, it's the lady with the Shackley, that she does that, because she helps with the cleaning products. You can buy natural products that are not going um, to put toxins in the air again. Because one of the things that I tell my clients is, if you look at all the different toxins that we bring at home, things that you use in the kitchen, things that you use in the bathroom, things that you use in the laundry. And I tell people, just go and look at the first three products, the first three ingredients, and look them up and see what they do. And each one of them listed, it actually has gives some sort of cancer. And so when you add all those things up, and they're actually ending up in your body, the chemicals that we use, the detergents that we use for washing laundry, they're actually absorbed in your skin, and we don't realize, that the skin actually does that. And so we hear a lot of people. I have a lot of people who say, I ate so healthy, I exercised, I did this, but I still got cancer. And then I look at their house, and I was like, no, that this is where it came from, because we think about all the things that we're doing, but we don't think about the things that we are actually absorbing. And so, we look at, all the things that we are putting in our bodies, whether it's body lotions, whether it's the hair things that we are using, all those things actually contribute to our health. Um, and then, the other thing that most people don't realize is, because, a lot of the chemicals that we use in the home, the last time they tested these chemicals were in 1976. 84,000 have not actually, they are known to be toxic chemicals, but they are not even regulated. So if we're waiting for the government to regulate things, you're going to wait a long time, and that's why people are getting sick. Um, and then, there are only five things that are actually regulated by the government. And if you ever read anything in Europe, not most of these are actually not even allowed in the country, let alone in anything else. And that's why sometimes you try to sell things overseas and they won't even buy them where they come from America because they know they're not regulated. And so something, we have to take on ourselves. And we can't wait for the government to do everything for us. We have to take initiative. And just I tell people, just read, read what you're putting in your body, read, because everything is written. And they only tell you what they want to tell you, but at least if you know those things, you can actually remove them. um, the other thing that is really important is, I don't know if any of you has ever opened the window first thing in the morning, and there's light coming in and you see little speckles in the air. And most people think that is actually dust. Dust settles on things, so that is not dust. What you're actually seeing is, we shed skin like any other animal. We shed over 700 thousand scales of skin. And what happens is the skin has to be eaten by something because it's very, very light. It doesn't fall and it's magnetic. So it stays in the air. And then, it's eaten by dust mites. And dust mites have dust waste. And that's what we see and that's what we breathe in. And whether we get allergy, actually I tell people the people who get asthma and allergies are the best because at least it's outward. The rest of it is settling some as long as it's going in, it's going to settle somewhere in your body. And that's where you're going to get sick. I tell people, whatever your body's the weakest, that's where something settles in and starts getting sick. And that's why you find somebody say, oh, they have heart disease, and then before long they have a stroke, before long they have this, before long they have that, because now the body starts reacting to all these things that have been settling in the body for a long time. And so removing these things, all these chemicals, is such a great way to do that. And then, some of the diseases we know about asthma and allergies, but some of the other diseases like COPD and Alzheimer's, and most of the cancers are caused by the chemicals that we actually in the body. And we have seen one of the things, I love to talk to new moms and new parents, because the minute they're told they're expecting a child, the first thing they do is prepare the home, the room for the child. And literally everything they put in that home is chemicals, because they paint the walls, and those walls, just because you put the paint on the wall, it oozes out chemicals every time it's hot or cold. That's what it does. If you put hardwood floors, most people have gone to hardwood floors instead of carpet, but think about, in order to get the hardwood floor, the look that it has, whether it's the marbling or the lines or whatever, all those are chemically done. It's not tree comes out of that from the ground. And then the glues that they use to put the wood together, is also a different kind of chemical that is actually emits from that. We also have fireplaces. We don't think of that, those are also the gases that we use for cooking. All those are actually chemicals are still in the air that we are actually breathing. And there has to be a way that, I'm sorry, somebody's calling. Sorry about that. Yeah, that we are breathing so many things in, and the body kind of gets confused of what to do. And it has to react some way. And then some of the other things are, one of the reasons most people have a heart attack in the morning, because they actually did not get enough oxygen and while they were sleeping. And so they have heart attacks or strokes in the morning. Usually I ask people, what's the dirtiest room in your home? And most people think it's the kitchen. Most people think it's the living room where everybody resides. Actually, your bedroom is the dirtiest place, because that's where you sleep. That's where they have, you have the most concentrated of that, skin scales. And then, you sweat, in the bedroom, you do, and that's where the dust mites actually live most, is in the bedroom. And so, that's why, when you're breathing all those toxins in, and then think about the laundry detergents that you use for the bed sheets, the pillows and all that. And then the air is just circulating all those things, and that's what we are breathing. Then and then so we have, and then the other things that we bring in is, if we have pets, we take them out for a walk, they come in, everything that they collected is actually on the floor. And then even our clothes, they collect all the different things that wherever we go, and we bring them in the house, in the home, and we don't understand. I it surprises me that people actually still smoke today, even knowing everything else. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I smoke outside." I'm like, "Yeah, you smoke outside, but you bring everything in your clothes." And so when you hug your child, that's what they're breathing. When you hug your wife, when you sit down, it's in the furniture. So smoking at home, unless you go out and you take a shower and put new clothes, you're not doing anything. You're just smoking outside. So that's it. And then some of the things that people have, you know, whether you have allergies or not, when you wake up in the morning, and the way to know that you have a toxic environment is you have, you know, itchy eyes, itchy nose, throat irritation. If you feel more fatigue, if you feel nausea, headaches, sinuses, shortness of breath, coughing and sneezing, all those things are actually, give you an idea that, the home environment is actually toxic. And I'd like to show so this has, we talked about dust mices, mold spores, and by the time you actually see mold on the walls, that means it's actually on the inside, it's completely covered. It's because mold, lives on inside of the walls. And so, by the time you see it's really all over, because that's what I found out, and that's what actually was making me sick. And they have all different kinds of molds, and the black mold obviously is the most toxic. That will kill you. And then we have other different kinds of molds, and there's none that is good to breathe, because it really gets into your lungs and it gets into other organs as well. Talked about smoke. Grass pollen is what comes in, when you open your windows or when you go out, you bring it in. And then we have all the household, chemicals. If any of you, please, if you put those plugins, please remove them. They are absolutely, they are really, really bad chemicals. Unless you're using natural candles, they are made of toxins. If you're doing any kind of sprays, all those actually stay in the air, and they're going directly into your lungs or into other parts of the body. So anybody using those, I would really, really, I'll, beg you to remove them from your household. But that's all I have right now, and I'll just take some questions.
So I have a question. So how you have these air filters, right?
The purifiers.
How,
Yeah, that's a yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So can you share about the one that you were telling me about that you can actually wear on you?
Yeah, actually, I have it right here. Glad you talked about that. So basically, I work with a company who does, our environmental health. They're all about health, but we are more about the air, because that's what something I don't think about. I actually bought mine because I used to travel a lot, and when you get on a aeroplane, especially going overseas, most people get to where they're going and they're sick because they're getting people from all over. You don't know what. So we have this little gadget. I call it a virtual mask, and you just it charges like a phone, and you just turn it on, and it actually cleans 2 feet off of you, so that anything that's coming off you is just expels it. Especially right now, because of the pollen and everything else. So I don't live from, and especially during COVID. I didn't go anywhere without it. And I didn't have, for the most places, I didn't have to wear a mask because that's actually what it not only protects me, but it protects other people. So whatever I breathe out is actually trapped in it. And, if somebody else coughs like at me, I don't actually get it. So that's, yeah, so we have that. And we have, from the home, we have technologies that are for the home. We have technologies for the car because when you're driving, I live in Atlanta, and I don't know if anybody has gone through Atlanta. It
Yeah.
takes you 3 hours to go somewhere that's supposed to take 20 minutes. And so when you have all those fumes getting in the car, and you need, I don't care what you're doing, you need that to actually clean the air. So we have one for the car, we have one for the home, and our technology is actually in hospitals. And just a little bit history about our technology. So not one of those you go to Home Depot and get one. Is actually was made for the NASA space station. They wanted to see if they can grow food in space, and they actually created this technology, and it did such a good job there that they brought it to Earth, and it was started by major hospitals like the Cleveland Clinic. That's what they use in their surgery wards. So it kills, MRSA. It kills literally. We were the first people to be given the COVID virus, so it actually destroyed it in less than a minute. And so any, MRSA, it kills everything. It is actually used in every baseball MLM baseball team. They all use them in their locker rooms. After 9/11, when the Pentagon was hit, we actually put those purifiers there, and that's how they were actually able to go back to work. And so the difference between it and anything else that is sold out there, everything else in it, whether it's a purifier or a filter, they have to take the air in. And you can imagine a room and all the air in going through one little thing is really impossible. But ours actually output, so it doesn't take air in, it actually goes to the pollution. And that's why it's able to actually kill mold, it's able to kill the viruses in the room. And actually it penetrates walls as well. So the only thing it doesn't penetrate is metal and glass, but it actually cleans also the surfaces. Because I don't know, when you go, if somebody in the home actually has flu or cold and they touch the door, and you go back and touch that door, you already have what they're carrying. And so what this does is actually cleans the surfaces as well, so that, the doors are actually cleaned as well. Whether it's, flushing the toilet, whether it's, turning on the faucet, all those things are actually covered by it. That's a great
Okay,
question.
and it looks Dawn had a question, but did she answer your question, Dawn? And we have maybe like a minute
Okay.
to, yeah.
I think she did. I was just going to ask her about air filters because I have one in every room of the house.
No, this one works for the whole house. It's not one of those you put in a room. So you buy according to your square footage. So if you have a 3,000 square feet, we have one for that. If you have 1,500, we have one for that. So
What company is this?
it's called Active Pure. And I'm gonna put something
I
on
think I
the
have one of
comments.
those.
Yeah, because and the nice thing about it, like the whatever you have, you have to change a lot filters a lot.
Yeah.
This one, because it doesn't take air in, yeah, you don't, because the only filter that is in it is actually to protect the cell that does all the work. And you just vacuum it. It tells you when it's dirty, you vacuum it, and you're good to go.
And okay. Yeah. Can you put the link in there? Because I think I may have that, but I'm not sure. So okay. Thank you.
Not if it has to clean the whole house, not just one room. You can program
Well,
it to go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, I go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I'm gonna put
Do I have all your information right on here,
yes, you
Monica?
do. And that,
That
yeah,
was
actually,
that was a great presentation, and it, like, as you were talking, I was like, oh, I don't want to breathe. I don't want to breathe. And then and then when you said about having a heart attack in the morning because you don't get enough oxygen, then I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta breathe. I gotta breathe. Actually, I've been waking up a lot with headaches, so I definitely believe everything you're saying. So, all right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure everybody would have more questions. So be sure to set up a one-to-one with Monica and learn more about her amazing products and the company that she represents.